I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on today's call. Today, I want to talk about an important topic, and that is talking to our clients about their transition planning. If you think about the importance of transition planning, it's really planning for the future transition of the business, whether that's to family members, employees, and of course, other owners. But if we fail to plan and make sure there's a good transition of the business from the current owners to the new ownership structure, we're going to lose value of that business, potential litigation of that business. It's something that's important, and we need to make sure our clients are prepared for what that future transition is going to look like, because it is going to happen. If you think about this, you know, the divorce rate in the US is about 50%, but every privately held company is going to transition ownership. It has to happen. It's just, how is it going to happen? So as you start thinking about this, I think that when we're talking to our business owner clients, we have to phrase the question the right way. And if you want to see somebody have that, deer in the headlights look, ask a business owner when they're going to retire. And the problem is, most business owners don't have an answer. So if you come in and say, okay, when are you going to retire? That might be the end of the discussion, because you've now hit a stopping point. And we need to make sure that we phrase that question better and talk to them about transition, not retirement. Because there again, for most business owners, there's not a retirement age. The reason it's important to talk about the, transition of the business, this is the point where we really have the intersection of business and estate planning. If we're not talking to our business owner clients, we might not be able to protect the value of that business. Think about how many business owner clients you work with, and how much of their retirement, how much of their income, how much of their estate value is tied up in that business. And if we don't take this necessary steps to protect that, we may lose the business, we may harm the existing employees and other owners. It's going to be a problem if we don't treat it the right way. So take a step back. What are we trying to accomplish? And when we're talking a privately held business, here's the problem we come into. Are we first trying to accomplish business goals? Or are we trying to do the family goals? And it's one where both are important. So if I'm talking to, husband and wife that own the business and have owned the business for the last 20, 30, 40 years, and now we're talking about what to do with that business, it's as much of a family discussion as it is a business discussion. When I talk to clients, they want to protect their family. They want to make sure their family's taken care of. I was talking to a business owner, this is probably about 2 years ago, and he has over 150 employees. And he said, I need to take care of them. They've been there for me. They've helped me grow my business. They've helped me get to the point where I'm at, and I've got to make sure they're protected. And so as you talk about that, there again, he doesn't want to exclude his family, but he doesn't want to exclude the conversation about his current employees and how the business should be transitioned. As we talk this through, we have to understand who is going to be the future owner of that business. Is it going to stay in the family? If it's going to stay in the family, the question is, how will it be transferred? And also, do mom and dad, if they're the owners of the business right now, do they need the money from the business to carry them through retirement? Is that something that they've been planning on? So you start looking at it. We can gift, ownership of the company. If it's going to stay in the family, we can gift it to the kids, the grandkids, whoever it is in the family that's going to take over ownership of that business. We can also treat that as a sell. There again, if mom and dad are relying on this asset to be part of their retirement, then we've got to make sure that that is taken care of. Finally, the discussion has to be, what about the non-business family members? So I see this a lot where, let's say there's 3 kids, And one of the kids has been working in the business for the last, 10, 15, 20 years, helping mom and dad run the business, grow the business. Now it's time to transition. Well, if they're going to gift that business, are they gifting it to one of the kids, two of the kids, three of the kids? If you think about this, this can create a lot of division in the family because there's those that have been, active in the business and those that aren't. And if they're all gifted part of that business through the estate or prior planning, there can be a lot of resentment for those that have been growing the business. So as you have that conversation, you can also talk about, if this is part of the inheritance, can we equalize the inheritance? And this is a great place to bring in life insurance. So if the oldest daughter is going to receive the business because that's what she's been doing and working on, maybe we get life insurance to cover the equalization to the other two kids. So mom and dad think they're, feel like they're taking care of them equally, but we're not upsetting the business with those that aren't active in the business. So as we go through, and you start thinking about selling the business, if it's not going to business, the family members, now we've got to start thinking about, who are we selling to? Are we going to sell to a third party? Okay. How do we identify that third party? I'm working with clients right now, in fact, several of them that want to sell their business. They just don't know who to sell to. They're ready to exit, but they hadn't planned far enough ahead to figure out who that third party buyer might be. It could be to a business partner. And when we're talking transition and we have business partners, this will bring in the buy sell discussion because we want to help pre-plan that. But when we get to the actual sell, there again, we're identifying the business partner as that potential buyer. Finally, it can be the employees. And it could be key, one or two key employees. It could be an ESOP going to benefit all of the employees. So as you start thinking about this, it's one where as we have that transition conversation and we start talking about preparing for that future transition, we need to identify, is it going to stay in the family? Is it going to go to an outside buyer? And who is that buyer going to be? The sooner we can identify it, the better. So here's what I think. When you start having this business transition conversation, phrase the question better. There again, it's not when are you going to retire? But start with the question, what happens to your business if you don't plan? And sit back and listen. Go ahead and let there be some white space in there so that gets the business owner thinking, well, what does happen to my business? Can my spouse run the business? Can my kids run the business? Will the key employees take over the business? Do I need this money as part of my retirement? That question can lead to a lot of answers. I've been in conversations where we've had, what happens to the business if you haven't planned ahead? I've talked to some of the key employees and they said, we're not going to buy the business because we know we can go pick up the scraps for pennies on the dollar. So they had no incentive to buy. There again, help your clients understand this is a large asset. It's an asset that needs to be protected for both the business, other partners, the employees of the business, and for their family. And the sooner we can have this conversation, the better. So I appreciate everybody getting on. If you have questions, feel free to reach out and we'll talk again next week. Thank you.